This past week was a long weekend here in Taiwan. It marked Qingming Festival, also known as Tomb Sweeping Festival, combined with Children's Day to make a 4-day long weekend, as we said. And so today we decide to delve into the traditions that shape our societies and explore their multifaceted impacts. Today we're journeying into the heart of a time-honored Asian tradition. The Tomb Sweeping Festival. Beyond its cultural and familial significance, this festival has profound socioeconomic influences that ripple through various sectors. Join me as we discover this economic tapestry woven by an ancient observance. I'm your host, Joey Chow, and this is Beyond the Reefs. But what exactly is Qingming Festival or Tomb Sweeping Day? Well, let's listen to this documentary by Taiwan's only all-English news and entertainment platform, Taiwan Plus.
Qingming Festival, aka the Tomb Sweeping Day, falls from April 4th to 6th. Taiwanese people care for their ancestors' tombs and prepared food offerings on this day.
In Taiwan, cemeteries appears mysterious and full of taboos. These places are believed unclean and ghosts hunted around. Kids and adults don't usually go around the cemeteries. So what exactly is Taiwan's Tomb Sweeping Day? What are the customs of Qingming Festival? Let's visit a big family in Miaoli to find out.
Duke Jing wanted to express his gratitude to Jie Zhitui, who had saved him from starvation during exile. However, Jie Zhitui lived in a remote mountain and was nowhere to be found. To locate him, the Duke ordered his guards to set fire in the mountains but accidentally killed Jie Zhitui instead. He then ordered that on this day, people could not cook with fire, they could only eat cold food. The next year, the day was declared Qingming Festival, and the tradition of having cold food and sweeping tombs have been upheld to this day. In Taiwan, one of the rituals during Qingming Festival is having runbing. It's also called popie, a fresh spring roll filled with fresh dried cooked ingredients.
Taiwan is a country of cultural diversity, so on Qingming Festival, local Taiwanese eat renbing and Hakka eat bagao. These foods are all originated from the idea of having cold food because people cannot cook with fire on this day. 谢谢. I got my popia right here. That kind of looks like a Taiwanese version of burrito, doesn't it? Let's give it a try. This is really good. You can taste the crunchy feeling of vegetables and pork floss. You can also taste a tiny bit of sweetness and just a tiny bit of spice. This is so good. I just finished it with one breath. People in the US don't celebrate Qingming Festival, but they can visit their loved one's tombstone at any time or even talk to them. But the elders in Taiwan often tell their kids to stay away from the cemeteries and keep your distance away from the spiritual beings. So most Taiwanese people seldom visit their ancestors' graves besides Qingming Festival.
Every spring, as the blossoms emerge, millions of people participate in the Qingming Festival, honoring their ancestors through tomb sweeping, making offerings, cleaning up the tombs, and various other rituals. While it's a deeply personal and cultural event, the festival's impact extends into the economic realm, touching industries such as tourism, paper offerings, cemetery management, and even digital services. Let's start with the former, the paper offering industry. A central ritual of Qingming involves burning joss paper, symbolizing money and goods from ancestors in the afterlife. This practice has given rise to specialized industry producing paper replicas of currency, luxury items, and daily necessities. According to Global Times, the demand for creative burnt offerings has surged, with items ranging from paper-made luxury handbags to counterfeit Mercedes-Benz cars becoming popular choices. In major Chinese cities and, of course, around Taiwan, the joss paper economy includes not just family-run businesses, but also larger manufacturers who ramp up production each March and April. Some factories even export paper offerings to overseas markets, serving Chinese diaspora communities who maintain the tradition abroad. Meanwhile, in Vietnam, Malaysia, and Singapore, the paper offering industry adapts with locally relevant icons, such as paper durians or branded electronics. This localized creativity sustains a cottage industry of artisans and printers, many of whom rely on Qingming for the bulk of their annual income. Next, let's talk about the cemetery and gravesite management. The festival also underscores the importance of cemetery upkeep, leading to increased activity in gravesite maintenance and management services. According to South China Morning Post, professional tomb sweepers are now offering services to spruce up sites and perform rituals for clients who cannot be present, sometimes even live streaming the rites. With urbanization and the aging population, professional grave tending services have become increasingly popular. Some high-end cemeteries offer full-service packages, including floral arrangements, landscaping, incense delivery, and even ritual chanting performed by monks. These services cater not only to local families, but also to those living overseas who cannot return home. In places like Taiwan, Japan, and Hong Kong, there's also been an increase in columbariums, structures housing urns in climate-controlled, high-tech facilities. During Qingming, these centers experience a spike in foot traffic, requiring temporary staffing and extended operating hours. Let's now talk about tourism and travel surges. Qingming Festival, like really any other festivals, prompts a significant uptick in domestic travel as families journey to ancestral hometowns or scenic spots. According to Global Times, in China, about 120 million domestic tourist trips were made during the holidays, generating approximately $7.5 billion in revenue. That's US dollars. In Taiwan, travel companies often market Qingming travel packages that combine tomb sweeping with spring flower viewing, particularly in mountainous regions. Railways and bus tickets sell out weeks in advance, and local snack vendors near cemeteries often see record sales. But this surge also leads to traffic congestion and overburdened infrastructure, especially in rural areas. But this travel surge also leads to traffic congestion and overburdened infrastructure, especially in rural areas. Authorities frequently deploy extra resources during the holiday, including traffic police and sanitation crews, creating seasonal employment opportunities as well. Finally, digital memorial services. With technological advances, digital commemorations have gained popularity, especially when physical visits are not feasible. People's Daily Online say that virtual memorials and online tomb sweeping services have seen increase in usage, allowing people to honor their ancestors remotely. Several apps and platforms now allow users to create digital ancestral halls, light virtual incense, or send e-flowers. In 2022 alone, Tencent's Qingming platform reported over 60 million users during the holiday. This tech-driven innovation also opens the door for global participation. For second-generation overseas Chinese unfamiliar with traditional rites, online memorials serve as an accessible bridge to their heritage, often with tutorials and translations provided. However, the festival's practices have also raised environmental concerns, leading to regulatory measures. Radio Free Asia say that authorities in some parts of China have announced bans on the burning of ghost money or joss paper and other paper offerings, citing environmental and safety concerns. In response, some local governments are promoting Green Qingming campaigns, encouraging flower offerings instead of burning rituals. Eco-conscious businesses are also stepping in, offering biodegradable incense and even seed paper that grows into flowers after being used. This green shift is slowly influencing consumer behavior. In some cities, biodegradable urns and tree burials are gaining traction, not only for their ecological benefits, but also because of limited land and availability in urban areas. Though the spirit of Qingming is consistent, practices vary widely across regions. In northern China, families often bring food to the grave sites and share a meal after sweeping. In southern China and Taiwan included, the rituals are more elaborate, sometimes lasting for days. Meanwhile, younger generations are navigating their own relationship with Qingming and their ancestors. Many see it as a more moral obligation, but not all understand the specific rights. Schools and community centers are stepping in, organizing educational activities around ancestral traditions. In cities like Singapore, where multiculturalism is norm, Qingming overlaps with religious and national observances. The blending of customs has created a more inclusive yet still relevant atmosphere, especially in public cemeteries that serve diverse populations. Overseas Chinese communities from Vancouver to Kuala Lumpur organize community tomb sweeping events in local cemeteries or hold memorial ceremonies at Chinese temples. The diaspora has helped globalizing the Qingming festivities, introducing it into a broader cultural calendars. These activities often involve associations or temples that serve as cultural anchors. For instance, in the US and Canada, ancestral halls may hold bilingual services explaining the significance of the rituals to younger, Western-born participants. This globalization of Qingming not only fosters cultural continuity, but also sustains a transactional economy, supporting everything from imported joss paper to temple donation platforms and international florists. But even within the Chinese diaspora, there are many different dialects spoken and certainly many different customs being served. Today we spoke with people who are either of Taiwanese descent, of Chinese descent, or someone who was born overseas to see how they celebrate Qingming differently.
So it's just a day that our family gathered together to pay tribute to the ancestors. And then the most important thing, I think, is to clean up the grave. But nowadays they provide paid service, so they'll clean it for you along the year so that it's already clean when we go there. So we just wipe the tables and then put the food there and just bye-bye. It's just like praying. And for me, like for the people in my age, we might not necessarily like meet those ancestors like my grandfather. So it's just a time we gather together. And also there's another tradition called 盖房子. Like we place paper, colorful paper, under a stone. And I think that means that to make sure that the grave, the place that they stay there, is safe and sound so they can live there peacefully. And we do burn paper money to send money to their afterlife. But like, I think people might have questions like, we only burn paper money once a year. So is that enough? Or I don't know. It's just something that we do every year.
They used to open in some certain day, like a tomb sweeping, of course, and Lunar New Year and Mid-Autumn Festival. But now, because considered more convenient for everyone, because nowadays, like everyone's busy, and if you want a whole family get together, it's not easy. So it's almost like every day. So you can visit your family any day, anytime, every weekend, as often as you want. So it doesn't have to be like a tomb sweeping. I burn the paper money, but less and less, because as long as you keep your ancestor or your beloved one in mind, it really doesn't matter you burn the money. Normally you have something to share with your ancestors and also hope them to protect you or help you to get what you want, the good job or a good another health, get married, give birth or whatever, or fortune.
Okay, so Qingming Jie, Qing is clean, Ming is, I don't know, clear. Clean and clear, I guess, is the holiday. Like it's in English, it's translated often as the tomb sweeping festival because traditionally people would go and visit the graveyards of their ancestors, clean it up, pick out the weeds, burn incense, and it's a day that people gather together to pay respects to their ancestors. Like they talk about them, they talk about the importance of their family. I think it's deeply rooted in Chinese culture where we have this veneration to our elders. Like we respect our parents so much to the point where we fear them up to like a certain point. And then we also want to maintain that same honor and respect to our grandparents and our great grandparents and so on and so forth. My family does make an effort to kind of like gather every year to go visit my grandfather and my uncle and my grandmother now. And essentially, as we all get together, we drive up to this Linggu Ta because that's where my grandfather's ashes were kept. The Linggu Ta is a tower that houses the urns that contain the cremated remains of, family members. I think it's pronounced columbarium. A lot of Roman cultures, I don't know, that's where the word comes from. They used to have similar places where, they're just kind of like buildings that have like little, if you've ever seen like a pigeon nest, you'd understand like there are multiple holes like in the walls, and then like inside of them people keep like the cremated remains. They keep the urns in there. So here in Taiwan, it's, I suppose, like the Taiwanese equivalent or Chinese equivalent is like a pagoda tower, that you know what that looks like. So it's like a tower, and then inside you have like rows and rows, kind of like shelves where the ancestors are kept. And so right now, like my grandfather is living next door to my grandma, and then not very far away is like my uncle. So like they're all together there. The ground floor of the Lingguta also serves like as a temple. So there's a lot of like temple related services there as well. So there are huge offering tables laid out in front of the Lingguta. So there's so many families there. Like everyone's like trying to find a spot, like, oh, where can I put out my offerings? So we found a spot. My aunt, my Jioma, she started laying out like fruit, a whole fish, my uncle's favorite fried shrimp, like steamed buns, mantou, and then of course like chicken dishes, meat dishes. There was wine. I think there was like a case of beer for my uncle as well. So it's essentially like we're here to share a meal with our deceased family members. Like we're just here to hang out and just have a meal essentially. And then there's also joss paper. It's also burned as an offering. The joss paper it's spirit money. Okay. So like you burn the paper and then your relatives get that spirit money on the other side. So we're bringing them food, we're bringing them money. Essentially, we're doing a house visit, and we're making sure that, they're okay, that they are comfortable over there on the other side. My aunt, she goes to line up to pick up like the incense sticks from the temple. So she grabs one incense stick for each one of us who was there that day. And then we stand in front of the offering table and then we bow. But we do bow a certain specific number of time. And then just think about anything that you want to say. You send a message to your family members, you talk to them. And then after that, she collected all of the incense sticks and then she went to place them in the central incense burner. So, like those huge incense burners that are like always in front of temples. So that temple also had one like right outside. So it was very crowded that day. You can see like so many people came to like leave messages to their loved ones. And we let my uncle eat. And then after bye-bye was done, my aunt who laid out the table, she did the boabui in Taiwanese. So she grabbed the boabui, the red moon blocks, crescent-shaped wooden blocks. They come in a pair. They have a flat side and a curved side. So when you hold them, they fit inside your palms as you're praying or as you're, asking a question. Typically, you're asking God a question. So you want to get like a yes or no answer. So if the boabui, they land on the same side, whether it's the flat side or the curved side, it means no. But if they land on opposite sides, it means that the answer to your question is typically a yes. So essentially, after waiting a while, my aunt grabbed the boabui and then she, asked, 吃完了没? 吃饱了吗? And then, she threw them on the floor twice. It landed on no. So, okay, they're still not done eating. Let's go ahead and like just hang out here, catch up with each other. And then on the third try, then my aunt, I was like, 那现在吃完了吗? 吃完了没? Did you finish eating? They were like, okay, yes, we're done. We're full. You guys can pack up and go. So we packed up and then we went home.
The Tomb Sweeping Festival exemplifies how cultural traditions can have extensive socioeconomic impacts, driving industries, influencing customer behavior, and even prompting regulatory changes. As we have explored today, Qingming is not only a time of remembrance, but also a period of significant economic activity and adaptation. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of the Tomb Sweeping Festival's socioeconomic dimensions. Stay tuned for more insights into how traditions shape our economies and societies. Until next time, I'm Joey Tao, and you've been listening to Beyond the Reefs.